Define your genetic structure. Choose a genetic resilience. Choose your first style. Pick your main color. Choose your detail color. Pick a class. Saboteur, Saboteur, Sentinel, Saboteur, Psy-Freak, Commando, Deadeye, Mercenary, Sentinel, Sentinel, Saboteur, Psy-Freak, Commando, Psy-Freak, Commando, Deadeye, Commando chosen. That'll work. Here's somebody with a troubled past, drawn into the spotlight of a story that's already begun. We're already at a crossroads, choosing, but for you, it's not only a crossroad, but a choice, a reflection of your key, the primal energy that flows through everything.
Let me introduce myself. I'm the light and bright side of you, or your inner voice to be precise, an echo of balance and consequence of your actions as you...
That's right. Light is only for those having difficulty seeing what's in front of them. Sticking to the me first path is the only way we'll be going places.
I'm surprised at the change of heart. I believe in putting yourself aside to help others, but helping the dark side is not that, you know.
You can't fight who you really are. The blood is obviously running red in our veins.
You're trying to keep us in the dark here, but you know it's blue blood in our veins and what it means. We have responsibilities. You can't fight the truth.
Guess left can be right sometimes. Stories of death and the bodies left behind, a reminder that we're at the mercy of nature and the one that preys on others. Do you remember the beast that shattered your family, or did you choose to forget? You turned your back on our world and got lost in your own. Meanwhile, the predator only grew stronger. Better make a run for it. This is not the time nor place to end this story. This time, it was best to run and live to fight another day. Let us hope you're ready for it when it comes. The predator isn't the only threat. The wildlife started to mutate when the end of days began, and the tree of life started to die. Knuckle sandwich. A climb stringer? How unusual. The oil sludge is everywhere. To most, it only means death, but some have adapted to the new environment and changed with it. Evolution has its ways. Hurts a lot. Goodbye. Hot metal. Look, an emergency box from the once was. A rare sight. That pipe looks weak. The claw bar should come in handy. Whoa! The morks produce biomatter in their multi-organ that they shed under distress. Blobs that affect the cellular coding strands of any living being when absorbed, including you. Time to see what's above. Toxanol built vessels called arks to save themselves from the impending doom. But was it too late? It is only from the flight logs of the single ark they left behind that we know other arks traveled through the sky and beyond. It seems those that came before us never lost hope in finding a new home for their kind. There are few records of the chain of events that led to the big apocalypse eons ago, but it's clear the world wasn't prepared for how recklessly the Toxanol Corporation would make its mark on the world. Their rare earth mining and nuclear industries generated tons of waste, and, without consideration for the future, they dumped it all in landfills until they ran out of space. That's when they made the big mistake. They began dumping the toxic waste in the surf just off the coast instead, assuming that it would sink and decay with time. And they were right, but no one was prepared for what was about to unfold. Once in the surf, the radiation interfered with the genetics of the wildlife and created bizarre mutations in their offspring. It had an inconceivable impact on biodiversity and the entire ecosystem. The world as they knew it crumbled as nature retaliated. It would never be the same again, and what remained of it became ours. The sound of spark metal going pew-pew is never a good thing. It's coming from behind that door. A warning label. The box looks like a potential brain melt. It's going to take a bit of puzzling to short-circuit the door. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Quite a shock to the system. Let's try that again. There you go. The wheeled one is outnumbered. You'd better help him out. Feeling fierce. That's the last of them. Let's talk to the wheeled one before backup arrives. You always find good use for things like that. He wants to thank you for taking his side against the scavengers. He presents himself as out of date. He knows he's way overdue, but he doesn't seem surprised that you don't recognize him. You were just a child back then. There have been rumors of a one-eyed Ronin seen outside the... The legend of the one-eyed child that grew up as an... The child could have been anyone, but the evil it had fled had left a mark, a facial scar to remember the past. It's a scar you're covering under that eye patch, isn't it? But he would have recognized you anyways. You look exactly like your Muma. There's no doubt you're the child, and that what Lupa Lupin did to your village, He says it has taken you a long time to bring the past back up to the present, to find your way back, but he's grateful you have. It was after the attack that the unity fell apart. Your After the old village was destroyed and you disappeared, a struggle between the families erupted, and over time, the disciples... You found one. You should be proud. They don't come out for everyone. The small tree you saw up there where you met will eventually grow into a You'll need to support the tree for a long time to come. You'll need a net to catch the nono, and he wants you to use his, but You handle that net like you've never done anything else. He's impressed. Oh, it'll need a continuous flux of ki over the 12 months to come, so countless, he'd say. One day, he hopes the tree will have grown tall enough to sustain the world. But today, your focus is getting this one to become one with the tree. Now that you've seen the nono's connection with the tree with your own eyes, you have no reason to doubt. One day, the land won't be as peaceful. You can... He says you'd better hurry back to the village before your Muma comes look... That's not true. She's the reason there's still unity, and the only one strong enough to keep the 6 Wang Fu disciples disciplined. He lost you there for a while, but no memory is alone. It's part of a trail you can... He says he remembers every single day he devoted to growing the Tree of Life, but now he's afraid it might be in vain. Records tell of the ruinous devastation that Tox... His friend Gizmo is working on a Mekton and needs help defeating the Jumbo Puff at the end of the West Route. Wiz is still repairing his octopod to confront the Murkpuff that dwells deep down under the surface at the end of the northwest route. Nocco has tamed the midget and is preparing to take on the Hoofpuff at the end of the east route. Finally, Goop is almost done with the Goo Glide, a machine able to ride the waves of the surf all the way out to the Porkypuff at the end of the route to the southeast.
Miami.
Out of Date says his friends are gearing up to stop the World Eaters. There's one at the end of each route. The road ahead won't be easy, but he's counting on your support. His friends aren't strong enough to end this on their own. He wants you to understand that you'll all die if the tree isn't saved. He claims names have power, so he gave them these names to weaken them. For him, the Porkypuff is particularly personal. It was that carnivorous beast that took his leg. Regardless, you'll meet again once you've played your part in the tribe war and the situation with the World Eaters. You're getting the hang of it. Quickest way out is through the roof where they came in, and the rope looks strong enough to climb. Know that the Tree of Life is dying. Its days are numbered. Without help, it can't endure the environmental change and assault from the World Eaters. A signpost maps it out for the cartographically challenged. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. must be the World Eater that chewed off Out-of-Date's leg. You'll need a hat trick to bring that down. The World Eaters have made their marks on our world over time. That's not the first nor the last village it'll leave in its wake. Look, a survivor. Glad to see someone made it out alive. He's heard the stories about the terror inflicted by the World Eaters to other enclaves. He worries there won't be much left to save if this continues, even if the Tree of Life survives. He doesn't know what your connection is to this place, but something tells him you've stayed true to your heart. Anyway, he needs help and says it's by your actions you'll be judged, not by your intentions. He's grateful for that. You still seem to have a spark of light in you.
Ah! That's a spark of light in you!
What's there to like about light? It hurts to look at.
Not as much as it hurts to look at you.
Always making this personal.
And you're always trying to pretend it's not.
There's Out-of-Date again. He must have missed something important.
Iboda Kilmok.
Out-of-Date says you will make a better stand against the World Eaters with the support of a tribe. And
Kuzata Ghetto.
the Myriad tribe is likely to be a good match as they act on the...
Tolu Keta. Ya Wawanawe. Iboda Kilmok.
Regardless of who you choose, it won't be easy, as the conflict between the tribes is worse than ever, teetering on the brink of war. The Myriad's conviction to stop the World Eaters began when the Leviathans rose from the depths of the surf. Siding with the Myriad's movement for wholeness in a fragmented world might seem like the logical thing to do, but is it the right thing? One thing's certain, though. Destiny arrives all the same. The Jagni tribe only ever had one conviction: to bring balance to the world by wiping out the weak. They believe a cleansing is necessary to restore the world and want to let the World Eaters bring down the Tree of Life. But siding with Jagni isn't necessarily a bad thing. Fate will find a way.
Tolidrea. Ya Maoloa.
Out-of-Date says someone needs to break...
Bobo Dubuko. Nuekek Ujbar no barke.
He believes the tribe Sifus, Myriad especially, will listen to you and expects you to pay at least one of them a visit and
Le Yayato.
Myriad is convinced that defeating the World Eaters is the only way the world can be saved, but they've been forced to focus on their rivalry with the Jagni tribe.
Ugambun ang Ugagad Yebroma Wufu. Ya. Sawata Mua.
Out-of-Date will be waiting for you beneath the Tree of Life if you lose track of what you need to do.
Fabobe. Mok Kofar.
Regardless, you'll meet again once you've played your part in the tribe war and the situation with the World Eaters. Another fork in the road. It's either the tunnel or the motor bridge. What'll it be? It's a bridge. Just get over it. Crit. Ended it. They've destroyed this area, muddied up what used to be muck, as if it wasn't bad enough before the tribe war began. That's the Jagni tribe's fort. Their friendship can be a blessing or a curse. It's up to you. You're either a part of their solution to the tribe war or part of the problem. Let's see. Says they're wary of strangers. Points out that the Sifu has a tight schedule, but is willing to let you in and find out if he has an open slot.
Zata is the mój totloho. Kariesne stace. Paro, ja put.
The Jagni tribe wants to become omnipresent and, most importantly, feared. They want to vanquish the tribes, as the only way they can guarantee peace is through supremacy. The Sifu is determined to let the World Eaters destroy the Tree of Life, as it's part of their strategy to cleanse the world and start anew.
Perfetta.
He welcomes you to the Jagni fort and introduces himself as the tribe's Sifu.
Yeti Rikle is the mój.
The news of a cold-blooded Ronin crossing the Great Wall through the crack in Bunker 101 preceded you.
Tada onis purenos odlisini. Zivot.
The wall that separates them from the other side, the wasteland you came from. He guesses the time spent there just left a blank space in your memory, as
Zivot tel novazi ale dlohodo.
he understands that sometimes we need to lose ourselves to find ourselves. But he's glad you chose to come here.
Naoko onis poloknost. Ja put.
There's something about your spirit that sparks memories of you as a kidling. He can still sense you're kind-hearted.
Naoko onis poloknost. Na zenakas pripatne.
Sometimes one memory can make another come to life. He hasn't thought about...
Novi. Naoko kiza orzekali.
There were 6 of them, but the unity fell apart after Lupa Lupin attacked the old village. Soon after, they formed new tribes based on their own
Vlada skuni patafo oflete.
The Sifu says it's time to set the past aside, at least for now. Unrest is sweeping the land and there are rivals in all directions.
Skuni naoko kiza zenakas pripat snatste.
Jagni doesn't want a new unity between the tribes. Their goal is to become omnipresent and, most importantly, feared. Says there is some darkness in the best of us, even you, and suggests you embrace that side of you and help them vanquish the tribe.
Oko, iglezet, ivezjeti rekli dekle.
He wasn't sure you'd do.
Kariesne stace, de reki, o visoko dolaci ne...
The Sifu was waiting for something to tip the balance in their favor, and with you by their side, he's confident you can vanquish the other tribe.
Dozatne, ivezjeti rekli dekle.
The Jagni's destiny is to do what others are too afraid to do, to vanquish past and future disillusions of unity and take control of our destiny.
Mali muzami kariesne stace.
Their kin must put an end to the war before war puts an end to them. It'll cost bruises and
Ivezjeti rekli dekle. Una vohni tlohoni.
They have no intention of letting this drag out, or they'll run the risk of teaching the enemy their art of war. He wants you to focus. These are the new rival outposts your tribe needs to take control of. He says you'll regret not being on their side. The only way you'll learn their secrets, Wung Fu and the tribe weapon now, is if you defeat him. And that will never happen.
Tolo, perfetta, is de moi...
Even if you see the world differently, you must hit them as soon and as hard as you can. The outcome of this war is up to you.
Zenakaz pripad snatste, is de moi vlada...
Tells you not to be afraid. Your fate cannot be taken from you. Claim the rival outposts and earn the right to wield the tribe weapon.
Inatofo.
Once you've conquered the rivals' outposts, you'll challenge their Sifu for control of their territory, tribe weapon, and kin.
Na Zenakaz pripatne? Zata, yeti rekle.
Your Muma taught each disciple a weapon. She never intended it for hunting nor war, but lately the art of defense has been shadowed by relentless attack.
Iglezet.
Seeing you brings back his memories of the old village.
Nibira, nalest stari dat.
He remembers your kind and unselfish soul, and can...
Skuni zivo. Ale.
Anyway, you'll pass your old village on your way to the first rival outpost, but we've got no time to be sentimental. War doesn't wait.
Dada, você see...
It's always the little things you remember, and with you it's pretty much the only thing he recalls, that you were little. Understands why Pichu want to ride out. So, says you... The vendor says you can browse his goods anytime. Maybe get rid of some extra things? The gatekeeper welcomes you back to the fort. Wishes you...